are two crucial things preventing most Magic players from enjoying the game and having fun. Firstly, you probably don't have a library card. With declining literacy rates in North America and across the world, you're probably not able to read the card to then explain the card. Secondly, you don't have a good organized play structure with bad pricing, shady RCQs, and a discrepancy between paper and digital play. Where do you get to showcase your prowess in our game? But in a surprising turn of events, we get a brand new job posting from Wizards of the Coast for a manager of the Judge program. That's right, the return of the program that was left to the wayside that has likely clearly led to the decline of the organized play structure and the overall casualification of the game that many players are not a fan of. And honestly, even casuals are probably feeling the downstream effects of no judges in the program. They just don't see it yet. So we're going to go over a brief history of where the Judge program was, where it is right now, and also go over the posting to see what we can look forward to with this brand new program, brand new direction, and honestly, one of the best pieces of news I'm so happy to cover. Fireshoes Mr. Robert Taylor himself hit the iron hot with this news. Wizards is hiring for the position of manager Magic Judge program. Folks, we are finally getting the return of the Judge program in Magic the Gathering, and hopefully the solution to many Magic the Gathering problems we have in organized play, in casual play, in just the game in general. The Judge program is so integral. I have spoke many positives about the Judge program, although covering a lot of negative things that have happened to it, and I just want to make sure that I get my message clear. I am pro Magic Judge program. Judges are one of the vital kind of pillars of the Magic community and competitive play and casual play in general. They are the ones making sure that you get your games played fairly. They are making sure that you get the experience you need, and they're only there to uplift the experiences you have in all settings of Magic. So it's really exciting to see that we finally get an official role and a new direction for the Judge program after it having been left to the wayside a couple of years ago, with Judges Academy being underfunded or just not having its funding renewed, the international judge contract as well. So many exciting things moving forward. At this point, we have no leaders for judges. Judges literally are just whoever tournament organizers choose our judges. And so there's a limited pool of judges. It's hard to find good new judges, train them in a reputable way. It's a very small thing to happen now. And especially with Commander and the kind of proliferation of it in many LGSs, a lot of people have thought that judges aren't required whatsoever. I promise you, even in Commander, there are so many reasons to have judges. I've seen so many Commander players make terrible decision-making moves, as well as bad rules decisions based on just not knowing the game, because they have unfortunately learned the game through Commander. That just isn't the full experience of Magic whatsoever, especially if you're playing CEDH. TEDH is the new differentiation, which I don't know how to feel about that, but even in those competitive environments for CEDH, judging is so important, or it just leads to structure breakdown. So lead the strategic development and execution of Magic the Gathering's Judge program. Develop certification pathways, advancement criteria, and continuing education tools for judges at all experience levels. Folks, we're going to go over the posting specifically at the end of the video here. But firstly, I want to go over just a brief history of where we're at and how we've kind of led here. So firstly, we had this post from kind of late 2023. I remember covering this in a video, but really what this is about here is, if I pull my camera down, to the Magic Judge community, especially the members of the Judge Academy, Wizards of the Coast will not be renewing the sponsorship agreement with Judge Academy. This means that we will no longer be under contract with Wizards to provide services to the Magic Judge program after October 13, 2023. This is from Judge Apps. Again, this was posted on October 6, 2023. I do not have any specific information of Wizards' plan. However, Wizards have consistently expressed to me their understanding of the importance of judges and believe Wizards will select another entity to provide services for Magic Judge programs. Because the community needs an interim solution, Judge Academy intends to continue offering training, testing, and certification of judges until another entity fills that role. Please see the provided FAQ. Now, I'm going to include this down below, but this is essentially the status of where we're at. Like, this was 2 years ago. At this point, 2-3 years ago, where judging has largely been left to the wayside. You can imagine some amount of time even before this decision was made, where things were just largely left up in the air. And so when it comes to moving forward, it's been a long time coming, where judges, again, as I mentioned, haven't had an official body to choose them. Yes, we've had Judge Academy and Judge Apps to a certain degree, but really on a quote unquote official level, judges were largely chosen by whoever the tournament organizer felt was a judge. So there were situations that maybe not mass reported, but where judges may not have been the most reputable out there. Obviously, if you're going to SCG events, face-to-face, whatever, these larger events that these bigger tournament organizers are used to running, you are going to, on average, come across a better judging experience because they are likely hiring judges that they have worked with. Those judges are likely bringing on other judges and individuals that they work with and they trust. And so you create a system of trust. But on top of that, you do need an official recognition system, not only for us, the player, but also the judge program, the members in it, to make sure they are being certified, retrained, and making sure they are equipped with the best tools to keep us in line. We see how this can really differ in other games out there where there may not be the most official path out there. I believe even the One Piece TCG just recently posted a way to actually become a judge. In the One Piece TCG, we see how judging can be very problematic, and even Yu-Gi-Oh! With the changes they've had recently in the Edison program, or the Edison format, I should say, and other formats, the rules switching back and forth, a lot of players having discrepancy between what is an actual way to play a certain card based on the format you're in. And so if you have unification in ruling, then you can have a unification in messaging, and as well a unification in player base and their enjoyment, right? You don't have any discrepancies whatsoever in terms of the cards that are being played, how they're being played, and how they're the ruling for mishandling of rules, interactions, and just gameplay in and out of a match is being handled. All of this is very important. We've seen different situations in how wrong judge calling, or what perceived wrong judge calling, can lead to in terms of big community downfalls. I've covered different situations and videos where people have taken situations, not even with just CDH, with the 11-hour game fiasco, which honestly should have been handled by a better call off the TO and the judge program, but also situations where perceived cheating was happening in big prizing events where we had secret layer promos that were worth potentially $50,000, and people were kicked out of events because of a certain perceived situation with judges. Now, could that have been fixed with a judge certification program? Potentially. It just only could serve to help that situation, regardless of how you feel of those rulings. Now, also, we all had an update around kind of late 2024, mid-late 2024, where days after announcing the Magic Spotlight series, Wizards has closed negotiations with the International Judge Program, the community-run judge program outside of the US and Canada, for formal recognition and sponsorship. And so this is where you get the sealing of the deal, where not only did you have no plan for a media plan for the folks outside of the Judge Academy, but also now the international program, the kind of negotiations going out the way, especially when it comes to the announcement through the Spotlight series. It seems really wild that they would do this through the announcement of such a big con event. And it seems to be the direction of marketing. It seems to be opening up accessibility for a lot of players to come into a con style event. And a lot of creators out there, I'll call them out, a lot of Commander creators out there, a lot of the cosplayers out there, a lot of the other community creators that I work next to and with, don't call this stuff out. And a lot of it is just fear of reprimand from Wizards of the Coast. And look, I'm not just sitting here bad mouthing Wizards of the Coast all the time. I'm not like some type of Desolator Magic nonsense, okay? I am here to call it like it is, okay? I enjoy Magic, I love it, and I have my critiques about it, but I will also talk about when it's positive. But I will also call out other creators who are not talking about situations like this because they're Commander junkies. They just care about going to a con, playing Commander, enjoying it like it is, and ignoring these bigger problems. Because not only, as I mentioned, for competitive 1v1 play is judging important, but as I've seen from lack of good play from Commander players and larger situations that come up in CDH, judging is important in all of these situations to improve the ruling and improve people's understanding of the game itself. Judges, again, are a pillar of the community, and a lot of creators outside of me don't do a good job of calling this out. I've seen PK call it out himself. I've seen the professor at Tolarian Community College call it out himself, but every other big creator is doing a pretty bad job of calling out, judges. To be fair, some of them do critique Wizards in other ways, so that's fine as long as we are keeping Wizards of the Coast honest. I just want to use this section to call out, we have had no good judge program for at least a year and a half, if not 2 years. And other creators have just gone about as an ambassador. I'm an MTG ambassador myself for Edge of Eternities right now. And no other ambassador that I'm seeing is calling out Wizards of the Coast because all they care about is making sure they get the product they do. I love everyone that follows the channel, and for the content that I have, I'm just going to keep it real. All right, y'all know where I stand. I'm going to keep it real. Ambassador or not, Wizards of the Coast needs to have done a better job, and they finally are. They are making a move towards something good, but that doesn't mean we ignore everything that's happened before. Okay, a bunch of creators have done a bad job of promoting this, or not promoting it, keeping it silent and just ignoring it completely. Kind of sucks. Just think about the creators that you support. Really do. Okay, we even had, you know, the case where after this was kind of announced, shortly after, some judges went on to sue Wizards of the Coast for back pay and just kind of compensation in general for the judge program, and that was obviously tossed. And the history with this is kind of terse, where the judge program has largely been voluntary based. Wizards of the Coast has not wanted to for years recognize the judge program and the folks underneath it as employees, because then they would have to pay them a wage and benefits, and there are these whole things, and they've separated themselves from this. So now with a manager of the judge program, I think there is a better official way to run this. Pay people, compensate them properly, because even with the judge promo program, we had a lot of promos that were worth a lot of money, and that was like kind of the secret under the table way that judges were compensated. But then at some point that was like removed, I believe, to where you had to refer people to get promos. Like a judge in the judge program had to refer you to even get a good promo. And again, the quality of the promos has just decreased over time, because why can't Wizards of the Coast print Mox Opal at rare into any set? They're not going to do that. They're going to print it at Mythic, because Wizards of the Coast cannot directly acknowledge the secondary market, but they can indirectly by not having, you know, good reprints for the cards that they put into sets. Like, why have we unbanned Mox? I mean, I'm going to say this for the millionth time. Why have we unbanned Mox Opal in Modern without a clear reprint plan? Why do we have so many cards in this game that, yes, should be chase, but are approaching hundreds of dollars with like no actual clear reprint plan whatsoever? The reserve list is a whole other discussion. That's something different that's not really relevant right now. But cards like the One Ring, certain commander staples, they don't have a clear reprint plan because they don't plan to reprint them at rare, because they continue to print junk rares in the defense of having a good limited environment, when you can just design a limited environment ground up from making sure that the rares are all chase, right? And people will just buy product and open into oblivion, right? So not only are we compensating our judges badly, we don't have good reprint plans for them. So we're not only not supporting the pillars of the community through the judge program, but we're also not supporting the players out of Backbone either with reprints. So I don't understand, like, what's the plan here? What is Wizards of the Coast plan here to not pay judges for the time and effort they've done in terms of uplifting and holding up the poorly managed system of Magic the Gathering that they've had for so many years? I hope this new person can do that. I hope this new position is a good, positive move in that direction, and I'm willing to hope that. I want that to be a good, positive direction. I just want to make it clear that we cannot ignore all of the negative things that have happened before this. We need to keep that aware. That is how criticism works. You don't just shove everything under the rug. Someone does you wrong, you remember. You give them a chance. You continue to work with them and hope that if they apologize, they are correct. But you don't forget everything that happened before, because there is a chance it can happen again. So you keep yourself aware. So when it comes to organized play, as I mentioned in the intro, with, you know, the discrepancy between paper and organized play, you know, we see it in Dual Commander with Deadpool. We see it with the mechanically unique secret lair cards, right, in Commander, but also when it affects the judge program, if you have a card like Shadow the Hedgehog that gives split second to your cards cast by treasures, which potentially has some CEDH play, now you have cards in mechanically unique secret lairs that only a few people can get, that are now in CEDH events that are hopefully proxy friendly for the majority of them, in situations where judges are required for certain rulings and how split second works and what triggers you can actually let go, what things you can activate, all that stuff. The amount of people that were confused as to the fact that you can activate Lion's Eye Diamond underneath a split second is absolutely wild. And you know what would fix that? I made a TikTok about that. I made a video about that, I believe. And so many people were confused about that. They did not know. And you know what would fix that? A judge program. A clear ruling on how that works. So many people did not know that that's how that works. For those who don't know, Lion's Eye Diamond is a mana ability. Forget the rest of the text. It is a mana ability. It is an ability that doesn't require anything additional. You just tap it, you discard your hand, and you just get mana. It is a mana ability. It is a special action. You can use that at any time. That would be a clarity that we can clear up if we had a judge program and more people were aware of the rules and more people played 1v1 60 card Magic, where things like this actually come up, instead of just making stuff up in my comment section. Yes, I do get things wrong. Yes, I do get things wrong, but that is one thing I'm sure of. And so with that kind of paper digital discrepancy, you know, people's misunderstanding in the rulings, and also shady RCQs where we see in smaller regions where, you know, a bunch of people are signing up and, you know, actively just dropping from the event, making sure one person gets an invite. That's a thing that people have actually reported. That is a thing that we have no investigation system for right now. We have no reporting system for right now. If a judge makes a bad call and continues to do so throughout an event, who do you report that to? The store owner that is in cahoots with them? The only judge at the store is a worker at the store? Who do you report that to? Do you just not go to that LGS anymore? Shady RCQs, bad pricing in organized play, maybe not directly fixed by the judging program, but if the judging program is fixed, more people come to these events and Wizards of the Coast can then rally for better pricing, or the players can rally for more pricing by showing that they can come to these events if the pricing is better. It's indirectly by the judging program. The quality of these events are increased by the judges being better, more certified, and more accountable. And so players come into these events, better pricing happens, less of these shady RCQ events happen because judges are then, again, they are certified. You can report them to an organizational body, have an investigation happen. And as well, the discrepancy in paper and digital play is not something that the judge program can fix, but it can help with when it comes to these events in eternal formats where interactions and play are very complicated. Judges can come in and help you understand what is the proper way to resolve abilities, resolve spells, and interactions. Judges are important to this game and are very integral to you understanding the game of Magic the Gathering and playing it to the best of your ability and enjoying it in the time that you have with it. Folks, we need to make sure that this person, the manager of the Magic Judge program, July 21st, 2025, literally posted just yesterday, right? At Wizards of the Coast, we connect people around the world, blah, 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 Magic the Gathering, Dungeons & Dragons, who we are, right? We are looking for a passionate and experienced manager of the Magic Judge program to lead strategic development and execution of the Magic the Gathering Judge program. In this role, you will ensure judges are empowered, supported, and equipped to maintain integrity, consistency, and high-quality player experiences across all levels of play, casual to competitive. As a member of the play team, you will collaborate closely with teams including events, communication, marketing, and other cross-functional teams to cultivate a professional and diverse community of judges that support in-store, regional, and premier level events. Folks, this is fantastic. And all of this is, you know, it's corporate speak, right? It's big buzzwords and all that stuff, but it's something you can hold the fire to. It's all here. I'm going to be posting this down below if some of y'all want to apply to it and become the next manager of the judge program. That'd be really cool if one of my viewers was that. What you'll do is build, own, and evolve the vision, structure, and execution of the judge program, develop certification pathways, advancement criteria, and continuing education tools for judges of all experience levels. So maybe differentiating it, you know, we had the L1, L2, L3, advancement criteria, you know, doing tests or having a certain amount of hours within certain events, and continuing education tools to be able to update you on new mechanics and new rules. Work with internal team members and third-party organizations to ensure operational excellence in the judge deployment and performance at events through, you know, tournament organizers, different bodies, you know, the SCG circuit, face-to-face games in their circuit, and internal team members as well. You know, they mentioned marketing, communications, you know, having this person be a front-facing, is this going to be someone on Twitter, someone that is on the Magic Judge app? They're going to have a Discord where they can have open communication. Like, how open access are we going to get? We see this as like a positive trend for many games out there that have like a front-facing community manager that does take social feedback and everything. This could be a big change for that. Obviously, this is a very high-level role, so maybe it's not directly them, but it'd be really cool to have someone maybe at a Magic Weekly stream where maybe a banning was made because of like a bad ruling, you know, something like KCI where, you know, the way it interacted with things, and maybe we have them as a judge member be a part of that stream, be a front-facing person, a communicating a person with the face on them where you can recognize and just be more personable with, maybe comes out to the cons and everything and helps people with the rulings and everything. Like, this could just be a positive force, especially if they are so, you know, working so cross-collaboratively and so closely with other members of the organization. Establish and maintain code of conduct, disciplinary procedures, and support systems. Build scalable systems for judge recruitment, training, and recognition, and retention. That is so key. So scalable systems where you are able to recognize maybe with judge awards within some type of compensation, training, and recruitment. How do we get judges out there? Is it just going to be someone who's like, I love Magic, I want to go about being a judge, where do I go? Or is it going to be a, kind of referral based system where we see, maybe a trainee system where we get people involved that are judges, and you have judges choose like, hey, maybe this is a good person to become next level and everything, working with other judges to gain experience and then go on to a higher level, whatever it is. And how do we keep judges involved? Like, how do we compensate them at these bigger events, not only with promos, but maybe have contracts with TOs where they do make more than minimum wage to be a judge or something for 16 plus 20 hours, 25 plus hours over a weekend, to help with some of the worst people out there. Y'all know that some of the people that play Magic the Gathering and TCGs in general can be some of the worst people out there. They can be combative, non-communicative, just real losers, okay? And obviously people like that also exist in the judge program, right? You assume sampling and statistics are out there. They're going to be bad judges and good judges. I like to assume that the vast majority of Magic players are probably on the better side, and so I would assume judges are as well. And so when it comes to this type of recognition and retention, we look to recognize and keep the better members of the judge program to then even promote a better Magic the Gathering community through more positive experiences. Advocate for program requirements and cross-functional meetings and long-term planning, which is great. A voice for the people, act as the liaison between Wizards and global judge community, which is great. I'm happy they mentioned the global judge community, especially with the kind of dissolving of the negotiation with the international program just last year. Monitor the program metrics and feedback. So 5+ years of experience in event coordination, program management, and community leadership in esports. This is going to be fantastic. This is going to be someone that is in the culture. They are not only likely a judge, but maybe a TO of some level, which many TOs are actually high-level judges to a certain degree. Program management, community leadership, some type of, project manager type of thing, event organizer, just someone at a high level that has worked in esports, maybe TCGs and beyond. This might even just be a community member that we already know, which is great. Deep knowledge of Magic the Gathering rules, enforcement, tournament structure. So again, likely someone that is probably a TCG judge, if not a Magic the Gathering judge, and a strong understanding of Magic's organized play system and ecosystem, proven ability to build systems and programs that scale globally. So again, someone that has likely been a part at a high level, if not of Magic the Gathering's judge system, but other esports systems at large, and outstanding communication, conflict resolution, and collaborator skills. So honestly, all of this I think is fantastic. I think this is a great thing overall. This is a great direction. We already see how the community has largely, ignored the judge program. I could be doing a better job of speaking the well wishes of the judge program, but with this announcement, I hope more creators out there are talking about the judge program, will talk about the judge program, will look to improve on the judge program itself, and look to actually call out Wizards for this. I hope it's not just speaking about the positives of this, but also holding Wizards of the Coast accountable, that we know that you haven't done diddly squat in the last couple of years to improve the organized play structure that is honestly falling apart at this point and falling to the wayside for con experiences and Commander. Yes, those are positive things. Bringing people together and playing Commander largely, to me, are positive experiences. But that doesn't mean we take the other portion of Magic the Gathering, which is a large group of people, if not half or less than, still a significant portion. If the vast majority of Magic players are Commander players, the other portion has to be statistically significant in some way, so we shouldn't be ignoring them. As I've highlighted, rules enforcement and the judge program is important for Magic the Gathering across the board. At an organizational level, at a player level, it is vital that we get the judge program, I should say. I'm stuttering at my words at this point. Get the judge program up and running. Now, in terms of timeline, based on having experience working in corporate America, this is probably at least a year out. We're going to get someone hired. This is, coming to, quarters run in kind of 3 months, January, February, March, April, May, June. So June is about to end, or June has already ended. Sorry, we are at the beginning of like what some people would consider Q3, or it might even be Q1. Like a lot of organizations actually finish off their yearly in corporate America at the end of July and everything. So we may be at the beginning of Q1 for some people. That's gonna be July, August, September. And then October, November, December, likely by then we'll have someone kind of onboarded and starting in the role. They're developing these systems, and likely by kind of early mid next year, likely Q3, Q4, we will get the proper introduction of the judge program. If we're lucky, we might even get communication beforehand, who it is. We will likely get an announcement for that, and likely next steps as to what they want to do. They might have some initial conversations of, this is what I've experienced with, this is what I want to bring. And so some initial conversations, likely if they are allowed to have that conversation collaboration of Judge Academy. Are they allowed to talk about some of the collaborations that they're working on, some of the contracts they're working through? Are we going to be working with the whole new system? Are we going to let go of judge apps and the judge community, the judge community that we have at large right now, but maybe keep the people, but go about a new system? Are we going to call it something brand new? Whatever it is, I'm excited to see where this goes in the future. And just in general, I'm excited for a largely positive decision. I think this is one of the best decisions that we could have made in recent history. Honestly, better late than never. And in my mind, outshine some of the negativity that we've gotten over, again, mechanically unique secret layers, the discrepancy between paper and digital play, the mess of organized play right now. However you feel about Universes Beyond, I think the fact that we're moving ahead with the judge program is a largely positive thing. And I implore many more creators out there that are largely purposely ignorant of this to call this out, talk about the positive aspects of it, spread the word with their community, and talk about how we do need to back this, how we do need to get involved with something like this, and be a better member of the community, not only as players, but as leaders and creators of the community to support something like this.